Okay, we're live. Oh, there's this little dot on the screen. Good evening, guys. It's 8 o'clock. What do we have? We have the 8th of October, and we're going to be doing another webinar tonight. Welcome, everybody. My name is Erik. We're going to be talking about stress and anxiety, and see how we can do something about that. So I intend to impart some interesting information with you tonight. I'm going to be using data from an international bestseller. That's actually this book. It's called Dianetics, which means through the mind. In other words, what the mind is doing to you, your thoughts, and your body. How, for example, the mind can make you sick. How it can cause you stress, and a host of other unwanted things, so to speak. So the whole idea about the webinar is to make it very, very interactive. That's what we normally do. I'll be asking you a lot of questions just to give you a bit more of insight. My own background is actually not in psychology or psychiatry or something like that. I happen to study electronics engineering. I also studied economics at some point. Graduated, went to work, but life was simply stressing me out. So it's an apt it's an apt title for tonight to actually have a look at. And of course, we're living on planet Earth, right? And it's a very, very stressful place at the moment. So we're going to have a look at what causes stress, right? So we're going to actually have a look at the root cause of stress and how you can actually eliminate it for good. So I see that we have a lot of people. Actually, people are still trickling in. That's great. I hope you bear with me, guys. I'm Dutch. I'm from Holland. I've lived abroad for many years. Only 2.5 years right now in Ireland. So you probably pick up my accent. It's probably not too beautiful, but okay. I hope you bear with that. And sometimes you may find me, for example, thinking for a word or a phrase or whatever. And that's the brief introduction about me. Now, we're on Facebook tonight, we're on YouTube, we're on Instagram. Also, of course, you guys here on Zoom. So welcome everybody again. I see that we have Anita. It's great to have you again, Anita. So then we have Jirai. I think Jirai, you've been here before, am I right? Then we have Lola. I'm not sure if this is your first time, Lola, or that you've been here already before, but it's great to have you. Welcome. Michael, good to see you. I think that's also a new name to me. Nicolene, okay, yeah, we've seen you many times already. It's great to have you again. Rebecca George and Robert M here. Okay, guys, so that is all fantastic. Good to have you. And of course, also the people who are following right now on the other channels. Usually what I just start with is that we have this title, right? Stress and anxiety. And just to make it a little bit of interactive, at the very start of this webinar, I would like to hear from you. Maybe you want to introduce yourself just by means of mentioning where you're from. You might say, okay, yeah, I'm Michael from London, or Lisa from Denmark, or whatever. That's all fine. And maybe also want to let us know why you chose this particular webinar tonight. So maybe there's something that you want to remedy, something that you want to handle, something that you want to solve better, whatever that word is. But I guess you have a purpose to attend this webinar. So maybe you just want to do that. The chat is wide open. Put in the chat where you're from and why in particular are you here tonight. What do you want to solve, or what do you want to know more about? So by the time I have your answers, that will also help me to relay the information that you might be expecting. All right? I got a bit of a trademark, and that is while everybody is in the lazy chair, I got my own tea. That is ginger tea with cloves. What else? Cayenne pepper, honey. That's what I'm going to be drinking tonight in between when you guys are answering the questions. I recommend it. It's fantastic for your throat. It's a great health boost, and I'm sure it has got a lot of other benefits to it. Okay, good. So Nicolene has already replied. Yes, we know, Nicolene, you're from Holland. All right, Michael Kenneth from Cork, great. I've been to your city already twice. Loved it. Was fantastic. Lola from Munich. Also, es gibt auch Leute von Deutschland. Willkommen. Then we have Melanie from Yorkshire, UK. Robert from Dublin. All right, guys. Well, that's great. So, as you can imagine, good evening, Erik and everyone. I'm from the UK. I'm here to see how I can manage stress at work and my anxieties. All right, Anita, thank you so much. Okay, let's just dive right into it. So as you can imagine, stress, anxiety, where does that come from? What causes that? And you might attribute it to a lot of things. Some people might say, well, it's in my DNA. Some people might say, well, I know it runs in the family. Let's have a look at that. Actually, what we're going to look at tonight is the mind, the human mind. How does it work? And that's, again, a very, very interesting subject, because if you look at the field of mental health, we look at psychology, psychiatry, some other things, you can actually see, let's say from an engineering point of view, that if you were an engineer, you would know the laws of physics, and you would know how to apply them, and then you would know how to improve or remedy something and actually get the desired result. So that makes that in engineering we can actually build things, and we can correct things, and we can remedy things, and we can make things better. And in this way we can build trains, and we can build airplanes, and we can build rockets, and we can build, I don't know, machines that can, go to Mars and report everything back. We can go into all these technical things, right? If you look at the humanities, and you see that, for example, well, let's say most of the countries on the planet are in debt, you would probably conclude that economics doesn't really work. It should have some flaws there. Something is illogical about it. If you look at politics, I don't think we're in disagreement to say that, well, certainly a lot of things going on in politics which seem to be very illogical, right? If you look at psychology, psychiatry, their first firm statement is that man cannot change, that IQ cannot be changed, that capacity, capability cannot be changed. And so it's a bit of a dark outlook. It kind of like means that if you're stressed, well, then sorry, pal, you got to live with that forever. And tonight, the whole idea is to give you a little bit of a different perspective on that. Now, why is Dianetics such a good book? It happens to be an international bestseller. It's been an international bestseller ever since the day it came out. And right away, I give a very accurate description of the mind, what the mind is, how it works, what holds you back, what causes you stress, and how to permanently fix that. And that's a bold statement, but actually happens to be true. So we're just going to start off with a quote, and I'm going to give you a quote from the book of what the mind really is. And our regards here to Dita, and our thanks here to Dita, who is hosting the webinar tonight. Dita, you can actually put up the first quote, which is the quote about the mind. And in the meantime, we see that we have Don Kingström, greetings from Sweden, Stockholm. All right, and we have Rupert. Hi, everybody, greetings from Germany. Okay, great, guys. All right, so let's have a look at this definition. The mind. The mind is the accumulated recordings of thoughts, conclusions, decisions, observations, and perceptions of a being throughout his existence. All right, now that sounds like a mouthful, right? But the first thing is probably striking, the accumulated recordings. In other words, you keep recording every second, every minute, every hour of the day, every week. every month, every year, throughout your entire existence, you have been recording. And no worries, we're going to go into more examples of this. And while you have been recording your thoughts about these things that happened. You have been recording your conclusions, your decisions, observations, whatever you perceived, like temperature, like the amount of light, sound. These are all perceptions, and there's many of them, and you have recorded that. Good. Now we're going to go to the next picture here. That is that. Good. I just happened to be in the screen, but anyway, that's fine. That's fine. What you see here is how that recording, how that would actually work. Yeah, so we see this guy here. He's walking on the street, and he sees a tree, and he's making a picture of that. You could say a mental image. He's making a mental image of that, of him walking nearby a tree, and then he keeps walking on. And then he sees another tree and he sees a house. Then he makes a picture of that. As you can see when you move from left to right. Now we go down to the left below. We go to picture number C. And we actually see that he keeps on walking. He sees another house and a car. And he actually makes a recording of himself nearing a house and a car. And you can actually see that all these pictures, they start to stack up in time, as you will. Okay, and then in picture D, he's walking past the house already, and he's perceiving another car, he's observing another car, and he makes again another picture. And this is actually how you would conceive of the mind. Yeah, that is what your mind is. It is observing all this. Now, as you can see in that picture, he is accumulating all that data. That was part of the definition. The mind is the accumulated recordings. So it starts to accumulate here in time. And what is accumulating there? For example, his perceptions. What does he perceive? What does he see? What does he observe? That is actually recorded. And okay, so maybe we can just make it a little bit practical. The picture can go away, Dita. So maybe you remember what you had for breakfast this morning and where you had it. And maybe there's also a conclusion about it. Well, we might be unaware of the fact, but maybe you actually had a thought there like, oh, you know what? This is quite tasty. I should do that again. Or, hang on, I put a bit too much salt, I think. Or, I burned the toast, or something along that line, or simply like, well, it was delicious. So let's put that to the test right now. Do you remember what you had for breakfast, where you had it, and what you thought of it? Can you just put that in the chat? Do you remember where you had your breakfast, what you had, what you actually ate for breakfast, and if you came to a conclusion about it, if it was tasty, if it was not tasty, if you liked it, if you didn't like it, if it was too small, too big, overcooked. In other words, can you see, you can just reply with a yes or no, but can you see that you actually simply had a recording of that moment and also kind of like had a conclusion about it? Just a fine breakfast. All right, I like that. I had a smoothie this morning. Banana, an avocado, coconut milk, some powders in it, and that's what I love. Right? Robert, same as usual? Okay. Good. All right, so let's see, let's go a little bit more into detail. And let's inspect these pictures a little bit more. Soft-pitted apricots at home. And I had to hide the packet. All right. That's really funny. All right. So you concluded you had to hide it, right? Okay, is that because of the cat or the dog or the bird or the kids or anybody trying to take it away from the table? Interesting. Anyway, so that's a conclusion about that incident, right? All right, now, there you have it. You can actually see that you did make a recording, that you did have your observations, and that you did have your perceptions about it, the taste, the quality, the temperature, what have you, and perhaps even a conclusion or a decision about it. Yeah, that's all in these pictures. Now, the next thing we're going to do is, they were too tasty. Okay, got you. So the next thing we're going to do is a little drill just to familiarize yourself a little bit more with these pictures, all right? And so nobody's on camera. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you to close your eyes, all right? Just close your eyes and imagine that you're in your favorite chair in the living room in the house where you grew up as a kid. Let's see if you actually can get such a moment. Just any moment. Just imagine that you were in the chair again, in the living room, in the house where you grew up as a kid. Now, if you can imagine that you're there, then what I want you to do is I want you to locate the TV in that room. So from where you're sitting, locate the TV in the room, and actually with your index finger, point to that TV. Just go ahead, you keep your eyes closed, and you would say, well, the TV is on my slightly to the left, about 3 meters away from me, for example. You kind of like know where it was, so to speak. Right? And if you have that, locate a table. Just locate a table in that room and point toward it. Many people will probably say, well, I had a table right in front of me, about 1 meter away. Perhaps. Maybe you're just getting a glimpse of that table. Maybe you can see its dimensions. Maybe you can see how many legs that table had. Maybe you can see the color of the table. Or maybe you can see if the table was covered with something. Right. Good. Now, if you have that, just keep your eyes closed and find a window in the room. Just find a window in the room, any window, and point it out from where you're sitting. Just point it out. Would it be straight in front of you? Would it be on your right-hand side, on your left-hand side? Just go ahead, point it out. And finally, if you have that, find a door. Find a door or a door opening. Just find a door or a door opening, point it out where it would be. You might say, well, it's behind me, a couple of meters or a couple of feet. Maybe you can actually see the color of the door. Might have been a brown door, might have been a white door. It will just pop up. Might just pop up and disappear again. Good, okay, so now you can actually open your eyes, and I have a question for you. I have a question for you. And the question is, did you get to see some glimpses of pictures? Did you see a glimpse of the TV? Or did you see a glimpse of the table? Or the window, or the door? You know? Did you actually get to see some pictures? Doesn't matter if they were vague, they might have been sharp, you know, it could have been any quality, but did you actually get some pictures? Okay, so Anita, you said, yes, I did. All right. Robert, very good, 100%. All right, guys, anybody else? Did anybody else get some pictures? All right, Melanie, good. Nicolene, all right, very good. Anybody else, guys? Did you actually get to see some pictures? Lola, yes. Jack, welcome. Welcome, my friend. Good to see you again. Yes, I did. All right, so here's an interesting thing, and I'm going to draw it out. Now, the drawing is three-dimensional, is two-dimensional, right? But let's see how we can explain that. This marker is not too great. Let's see if we have anything else. No. So I hope you can see that. I think it's okay. Let's say this is your body. All right, and like we just saw, the mind actually makes pictures. It registers pictures. So if we would sketch something that would depict pictures going along in time, might look like that, just for your imagination. It's like a sort of like a time track where you put all these pictures on. It might look like a footage, just like in a movie. However, our mind, of course, is not a footage. Yeah? But just for the sake of understanding, well, we're depicting it like that. Now, an interesting fact here. An interesting fact is that we can actually call these pictures mental images. And what is special about mental? What's so special about that is that that stuff is not tangible. You could probably see the TV, but it wasn't tangible. You couldn't touch it. You could perceive it. You could observe it in your mind, but you couldn't touch it. Nevertheless, it was there. You could look at a table, you could perceive it, you could observe it, you couldn't touch it, but nevertheless it was there. In your mind, it was there. All right? That is one thing we can see. So that mental image, you cannot touch it like a marker. Like this marker, for example, it has mass, right? It's got some weight to it. It's got energy, right? It consumes its own space. And it's a materialistic object. This cannot be said for your mental images. They're not materialistic objects. That's the first thing that we can see, that we can observe, right? And the next thing that we can observe is that these pictures are actually three-dimensional. Because you could say, well, let me see, if I'm sitting here, the TV is over there, and I've got a table over there, and I got a big window over there, I got another window there, and I have a door behind me, and I've got another door over there. That's what I see when I look at my own living room, right? And you can see its dimensions. You can just recreate in your mind the whole space about you again. So, well, the TV was 3 meters away from me. The table is 1 meter away from me. The window is 5 meters away from me. There's another window there. It's about 4 meters away from me. And there's a door at the back of me, like 4 meters behind me. Okay, what does that tell you? It kind of like tells you that these pictures are not over here. And what do I mean by not over here? I mean they're not in your brain. You say, well, Erik, who actually invented that stuff? I mean, it's clear. Everybody knows that it's in the brain. Well, how did we get that data? Actually, this was an assumption that originated in Austria, in Vienna, about 150 years ago. Somebody said, it has to be in the brain. And it was just assumed that it was like that. It was just assumed that it was like that, but there was never any scientific proof for it. There was never, ever any scientific proof for that. Okay? Nevertheless, the science called psychology adopted that data, took it for granted, and then said, well, the memories, they're all chemical somehow. All the memories are chemical. And they came up with this, do that for a minute, it's okay. So they came up with a theory, but they never actually proved it. Okay, good. So, why do I say it's not in the brain? Because You did not say, well, the TV is over here in my brain, and the table is over there in my brain, and I saw the door clearly in the back of my brain, and I saw the window next to my temple here. You didn't do that. You pointed about you. Right? So there's something more going on to the mind than actually these sciences claim to know. And you'll find the data in Dianetics. You'll find the data in the book Dianetics. All right, good. Now, Adita, do your thing. I'm still going to be using it a few minutes. Yeah? Okay, good. So, let's call this the mind. So now we have a body, we have a mind. All right, guys. So you were just looking, just like a dream. Yes, Robert, exactly. When you're dreaming, and the lights are out, these pictures might become very vivid, right? Might become very vivid. All right. Now, an interesting question now is who or what is looking at these pictures? So you just looked at the TV, you looked at the table, you looked at the door, you looked at the living room. Now my question to you is who or what is actually looking at these pictures? Put it in the chat. What do you think? What is looking at these pictures? Who or what is looking at these pictures? Okay, Robert says my mind. All right. Nicolene says my consciousness. Okay. Thank you, Nicolene. Melanie says subconscious. All right. Okay, guys, that shows that we have a lot of different meanings here, right? We have a lot of different opinions about this. Melanie, subconscious. Anita, me. Okay, well, what would you say if we would just say, I myself am looking at my pictures. You yourself are looking at your pictures. Would that make any sense? That you actually look at your own pictures. Would that make sense? You could just say, it's you. You look at your pictures. You are actually looking at your own memories. Right? Good. So now we got you. And we have just subdivided a human being into three parts: the body, the mind, and you. Now, maybe, like in nowadays culture, especially in the Western Hemisphere, the Northern Hemisphere, we happen to be very, very materialistic. So we like things which are tangible. We don't really like things which are not tangible, that we cannot touch. And we have a tendency to say, well, that's just a fantasy. You are just hallucinating. Or, people don't really agree with something if it's just an idea that somebody has. People tend to agree with things that are solid, that they can see, that they can touch, that they can smell, and say, all right, now it's real to me. So what has become very real to people is bodies. Well, okay, nothing great about a body. On average, it just lasts 75 years. If you're terribly interested in your body, okay, you can study anatomy, you can study biology, you can study medicine, you can find out more about the body. Maybe you would say, well, I would love to know more about my mind. I would love to know what holds me back. I would love to know what causes me stress. I would love to know how much potential is blocking me or whatever. And maybe you say, well, I would like to know about me. I would like to know how much better I can get. I would like to know, what am I made of? I would like to know, what is my full potential? Right? Some interesting questions here. Okay, so let's have a look. How does that mind work, for example? Well, let's say I got a pair of keys, right? I come home, I drop these keys in the cupboard somewhere, and I roam around the house, and then 2 hours later, I look at my watch and say, gosh, oh damn, I actually got to do some shopping. Where's my keys? You go, where's my keys? And you looking in your pockets and you can't find your keys. And go, what the hell did I do with my keys? Now, you probably wouldn't roam around in the entire house and go to every quarter and look at every table, any desk or whatever to find your keys again. What would you do? You would probably consult your pictures. You just stand there for a moment and say, hang on, I got home like 2 hours ago. What did I do? Oh, and you get a picture again. And you have a picture again, you just put your keys in the cupboard. So you walk over and you find your keys again. So that tells you that you are an intelligence. You're an intelligence. You're actually using your mind to solve problems relating to survival. It's a very key thing. Your mind solves problems relating to survival. And that is one of the key data in this book. Now, you could actually say that you're an energy. You're an energy. You make your arms go up and down, and you make gestures, right? And you'll make your hand right, for example. You endow your body with energy so that your body follows suit. It follows your thoughts of actually what you want to do. It's very clear there. When you want to put something in writing, you have the thought already, and you just put the mechanics there to make your hand follow, right? So you could say that you're an energy. Now, you could also say that that you are a life force. And in the book, the researcher actually talks about you as a life force, and that you can have tremendous amounts of that life force available. But maybe you're only using a fraction of that life force. So you want to untap all that potential life force that is there. And that's what the whole book is about. Good. Now, I have a question for you, and maybe Dita can actually show the next question. And there's actually 3 questions here. Yeah? 3 key questions. So if you can't really find an answer to the first question, maybe you can find an answer to the next question. And if you cannot find an answer to either number 1 or number 2, maybe you can find an answer to the third question. So here's the question. Is there anything undesirable in yourself that doesn't make sense to you? Like, for example, maybe you feel shy and you don't want to be shy. So for the fact that you don't want to be shy, that doesn't make sense, right? Maybe you're unhappy, but you actually don't want to feel that way. Or you're stressed and you don't know why. And that could be something undesirable, but you say, okay, I have no answer to that. It doesn't make sense. Or we go to the next question. Yeah, does a person or a location cause you irrational reactions? Yeah, for example, let's say you see your boss and you already get shiver when you think of the idea that you have to see him and talk to him. It causes some reaction. When you go to a doctor, a dentist, a hospital, whatever, you constantly have to run for the toilet. You get this butterfly feelings. It causes a reaction when you get to such and such a location. Maybe you freeze in some peculiar situation without any rational reason. Maybe you have to talk in front of a group of people, and you just feel numb. Something like that. Does that make any sense to you guys? So the answer can simply be given by just simply putting a yes or a no in the chat. Yeah? If you want to elaborate, be free, feel free to do so. Yeah? But is there anything there in that question that you can relate to, that you feel, yes, that is certainly happening in my life? Okay, Nicolene is standing in line. Thank you very much. Could you elaborate on that, Nicolene, just to give everybody a little bit of an idea what you mean by standing in line? I mean, so what happens to you in that kind of situation? I assume everybody's typing something. That'll be nice. So we keep the chat a little bit alive. Like I said, you can also just simply put a yes or a no in the chat. Totally fine. There's a couple of yeses or nos. That makes it easy. We can just move on again. Yeah. Passing tests. Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much, Robert. Okay, Melanie says yes. All right. Oh, okay, Nicolene. All right. So you get uncomfortable, and you start to talk. Okay, like you can't shut yourself up or something like that, right? Peter Hemming says, okay, don't like the sound of my own voice. All right. I get you. Okay. 2. Going into work at head office. Okay. Yeah. Got that too. Okay. Number 3 now. Okay. Good. Well. Okay. So now I want you guys to be frank. Okay. I want you guys to be frank. And this is the question. So share something, tell me something that is not under your control and seems to be stronger than you. So put something in the chat that you feel is not under your control and it seems to be stronger than you. Nicolene, other people? Okay, thank you. Right, so other people, they have an effect on you, an unwanted effect, yeah? Robert, the driving test, okay, very good. I can give you an example about myself. After I graduated, I'm 56 years old right now. Back then, I was terrified, just clearly terrified of making phone calls. That was just as bad to me as seeing a dentist or a doctor. And if I would have to make a phone call, I would just get bloody nervous, and I had no clue why. I would get immensely stressed and started to become very afraid. My armpits would start to smell. I would go into fear and felt completely lost, like I could not handle that. Now, because of Dianetics, because of this technology on the mind, that has completely turned around for me. Actually, now I love to be on the phone. I love to talk to people. And it doesn't make me nervous anymore, right? I'm just indicating that whatever you feel there is, maybe there's something there, maybe there's something there, you just may not want to bring it up in public, which I respect, yeah? As long as you get the question that is real to you, that there's something there that's not under your control, and it seems to be stronger than you. Now, just to give you an idea, did you ever have to speak in front of a group of people, or have to go to, let's say, a job appointment, like a job application, and you felt nervous or stressed. Have you ever felt that? You went to a job application, like an interview, or you had to talk in public, and you felt nervous or stressed. Now let's come up with just a simple example. Yeah. All right. So Robert says yes. Melanie, yes, every time. Okay. Nicolene says sometimes. All right. So here is the discovery. Here's the discovery that I want to share with you guys tonight. There is something there that is some kind of a force and that force, it controls your body. It's comparable to like electricity or pain or some kind of a very, very unwanted sensation, like this butterfly feeling in your stomach, right? And that force, you could also call it stress, it actually controls your body. It controls your body. So let's say you have to talk in public, just to give that example again, and it just totally stresses you out. How does it control your body? What happens? All of a sudden you get a dry throat. You feel you have to drink and you have to drink and you have to drink. No matter how much you drink, you still have a dry throat. You smell your armpits, you go, oh gosh, smelling like an ox. Your legs, they kind of like go like shaky. You're trying to hold a paper still, but you can't. It has to go like, you cannot hold something still. There's something there that clearly controls your body. Now, it also controls your mind. It controls your mind. Let's say you had a down cold what you were going to tell to that group. You said, well, I'm going to be talking about A, B, C, D. And the moment you're there and you're under stress, you all of a sudden go blank. And you forgot what you were going to say about A, and you forgot what you were going to say about B, you forgot what you were going to say about D, C, and D, and so on. It's as if it kind of like put a barrier between you and whatever was there that you knew. Now, it would even control, so it controls your mind, your thoughts. It even controls your purposes. So let's say you have a talk with your partner and you both come to the conclusion, tomorrow you have to talk to your boss and you have to sit down with him and you have to ask him for a better job or an increase in salary. And you came to the conclusion that that is what you're going to do. And the next day you're in the office and you want to make your move. You're getting out of your chair and you want to walk over. Something instantly hits you. That stress just hits you. And you turn around and you say, well, he seems awfully busy right now. Right now is probably not a good moment. Let me do that tomorrow. So there's something there that even that even controls the outcome of your decisions, the outcome of your purposes, what it is that you wanted to do. All right. So what was discovered is that there is a part of the mind that was hereto undiscovered. The book tells you what that is. There is a part of the mind that stores all the bad experiences. and they now turn against you. So let's say, just gonna give you a very, very simple thing that you can relate to. Let's say once as a child you were bitten by a dog, and let's say this was a ferocious dog. Now many, many years later, every time you see a dog or a similar dog, that old incident still has an effect on you. The same way you can actually have something with other subjects like spiders or whatever. Yeah, let me see here. Kira Boyle, YouTube, the last question about freezing in question. My boyfriend asked me about a question about giraffes that I didn't know. He was getting so angry over the thought that I didn't know anything about them. Kind of froze in time because I was worried that I wasn't smart enough for him. Okay, Kira. Thank you for that comment. Much appreciated. Okay. I hope that gets handled. And you're a big fan of the show. That's so sweet, man. I feel humbled. That's really great. Okay, Kira, that's amazing. So, it'll be a bit too technical, to be honest with you, to actually go into the content here. What it is that has all that negative energy in it that could completely limit your potential. I'll give you a snippet. I'm just looking at the time. I'll make it very, very simple. So here, here's a picture, and that picture contains pain. And that is you being bitten by a dog. Okay? Now, in present time, this was in the past, in present time, you see a very similar dog again. What is your mind going to do? Put something in the chat if you want. What is your mind going to do? It is going to tell me to avoid the dog. All right. It's going to freeze a little. All right. Good. So, it seems like your mind is going to throw this picture here in between. You're looking through a past experience at the dog. This past experience has pain. So now you're going to feel that force again. Your mind is going to control your body. It's going to control your thoughts. Maybe you want to do a detour. Maybe it's going to control your purpose. It said, well, I should go another way. That's the simplest example I can give you. You'll find a lot more in the book. Now, where are we getting at here? Where are we getting here tonight? What we're getting at is that you don't need a 4-year education in psychology or any related subject to know about the mind. As you can see, the whole thing was explained in less than an hour. And actually, I can assure you that if you explain this story to anybody who studies psychology, he's going to ask you questions. How come you know this so well? Because he doesn't. Now, but what is the key thing here? Maybe you have you ever felt that you could be more, that you could do more, that you could achieve more, that you could be more successful in life? Have you ever felt that you had more potential and something was holding you back? Put that in the chat for me, please. Have you ever had this thought to yourself, like, gosh, there must be something more in me. There must be something more I can be, something more I can do, something more I can achieve. I know I can be better somehow. This is real, right? So you're probably familiar with Mr. Einstein. Mr. Einstein, the physics scientist, he made a statement that we're only using 10% of our potential. 10%. All right. Now, I want to ask you, would it be real to you that we as humans, we only use 10% of our potential, or perhaps even less? What do you guys think? Are we using 10% of our potential, or would it be more? Would it be less? What's your idea on it? Is it real, in other words? Is it real? Is that statement real? Are we using 10% of our potential? Maybe we can smash it down right now before 9 o'clock. Everybody says a yes or a no. Anita says, where the hell is my 90%? Okay, Nicolene says, I don't know. Okay, Melanie says, all right, I am. So I guess that's real for you, Melanie, right? Okay. Robert, equal, life takes over. So here's the kicker. Here's the kicker. This is the discovery. What was discovered is that the 90%, is actually in there. And that part there is greatly reducing your potential. And the 90% is actually working against you. How many times did you decide to do something for yourself? Something positive. Something that you felt you wanted to achieve. And then you didn't do it. Right? Or maybe the opposite of it. Maybe you feel ashamed, or you feel bad about doing certain things that you feel like you shouldn't be doing, but you can't stop yourself. You have to do it. There's 90% there just working against you. Like I had with the phone calls. I couldn't do a bloody phone call. I would not even call the hairdresser. As you can see right now, I don't need that. But I came in very, very handy when I was 20 years old, but I didn't dare to pick up the phone. Back then, I lived in Holland. I would just get on my bike and I would pedal to the hairdresser, and I would come back an hour later and I had an appointment. And this whole thing started to dominate my life. So I was definitely aware that was problematic in my life. Good. So now, what is so special? What is so special about this book? In the first chapter, it tells you where the 90% is and how you can actually develop it. In other words, you don't need to be in stress. You don't need to have this anxiety. Well, let me be very clear. That you're here tonight which is a topic about stress and anxiety and how to handle it. Well, if you're here, you probably agree that you don't want stress in the first place. Yet you are stressed. You don't want to be anxious in the first place. Yet you feel anxious. You don't want to have certain fears. Yet you're afraid to participate. Right? And it does a lot of damage. It does a lot of damage to you. And it fans out to your relationships. It might make you a spoilsport. You cannot participate. Maybe you want to hide sometimes. And all these feelings you don't want. So there's something there that you don't want. It is controlling you, and it seems that you can't control it. Now here's the kicker. That book is a book that you are not supposed to know about. Because the book actually has the whole technology on the mind. It tells you, like I did tonight, but in much more examples, many more details, what your mind is and what it is exactly, what holds you back, and how to fix that permanently. If you want to get that 90%, you probably want to find out where it is and how you actually can develop it. You'll find the answer in the book. Now, I see that we're nicely in time. Normally I always need like another couple of minutes. Last week I think I exceeded by 15 minutes. So tonight, basically, I would like to end off here, and I would like to make you an offer. And we have the book on promotion with free shipping tonight, with an extra book that is called The Way to Happiness. I'm not sure what price is going to come up because the promotion was just made while I was preparing this webinar, but it's going to come up right now. Dita is going to put it in the chat for you guys. Have a look. All I can say, this book radically changed my life. I started to make more income. Actually, at some point I made 5 times more income as I did before. I became very successful with it. You can look up Grant Cardone. This guy was on drugs and he had a big purpose, and he simply didn't know how to make it in life. He found that book. Nowadays he's a multi-billionaire and he helps other people to become rich. He's all over YouTube. He thanks all his advancements to this book, Dianetics. Same thing goes for John Travolta, who says, like, because of that, something really big could happen in his career. You'll find a lot of things going on TikTok with Dianetics. Yeah, it's been a bestseller from the first moment it was published, and it's still a bestseller today in several countries in Europe. It's absolutely booming in Italy, in the Czech Republic, in Slovakia, Denmark. It's really big. And the beauty is that none of that stuff here you'll find in any other self-help book, in any motivational book, in any psychology textbook. You'll find none of that stuff as clearly explained as you have it in the book. And while reading it, you're going to get all these realizations, finding out, now I understand why this keeps happening to me. And as you continue reading, of course, the book is a practical book. You actually have a method, a therapy, if you will, to apply, to work, and have results with it. Because bottom line is, it's not a book to believe in, it's a book to use. It's a manual for the mind. It's something to use, that you can use and apply in your life in order to improve. I'm going to shut up. I'm going to let you guys What we're promoting tonight, Robert, is a soft copy. But if you want to have a hard copy, I think the hard copy is 36 euros, something like that. It's beautiful. I got a couple. Okay, yeah, okay, yes, you see, 56 years old. Dita is younger than I am. And Dita says you might refer to a soft copy, yeah, like an audiobook. It does exist. However, these items are actually developed for the entire planet, which includes Africa, Asia, Latin America. So the audiobook would actually come on CDs. Kira Boyle, absolutely love this webinar. Really enjoyed. Okay, Kira, we should have a chat. It's great. I love it. I love these comments. It's great. I'm very happy you're picking up something. Yeah. So you can see. I have to comment to this, Kira. I have to comment to this. You may have been told that the mind is very complex to understand. And you'll find out it is essentially simple. It is only any subject is hard to understand if it wasn't understood in the first place by the people who actually looked at it. Right? If they didn't understand it themselves, they just went into complexities. Right? But everything is essentially simple once it is understood. That's the beauty of Dianetics. It makes the whole thing very simple. And so it might sound outrageous, over the top, and what have you. Just imagine that you could actually only get a portion of that 90%. Imagine that you can go from 10 to 20. Gee whiz! I mean, your life is changing so much. Let's imagine that that you're not holding yourself back to the extent that you do now. That you're not being stressed to the extent that you do now. That you can actually go to sleep and be well rested the next morning. That your energy levels are way higher. I mean, I could tell you honestly, I'm 56 years old. I outrun my kids in terms of energy. They're not even half my age. And all I can say that is because of this subject. I've been looking for it a long time. I've been really happy that I found that. Because life on Earth, you know, it is not easy, and you do need something to strengthen yourself. All right, guys. So Melanie, if you want to order it, I can help you with that. I can send. We can definitely ship to the UK without shipping charges. No worries. If you try to order it and for whatever reason it fails, no worries. I can give you a ring. We can do it over the phone, whatever. Yeah. So you want to have it, yeah? Now we're actually based in Dublin. Anybody who wants to have a free Dianetics session to actually have a look at that and see how it works, you guys are very welcome to come here. We're close to the M50. We're fortunately not in the city. We're more at the outskirts. You can actually have a Dianetics session and you can see how fast you can actually make changes in your life. And these changes are permanent. Whatever you gain, you will not lose. And you can even do before and after personality and IQ tests, and you can actually see the improvements. And just like if you have a broken down car, you bring it to the garage, and a couple of hours later, it's better. Imagine that such a technology exists today where you can effectively do something for yourself, raise your own IQ, and feel more confident. Isn't that the greatest thing? Well, that's my passion. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm sharing this with you guys. Okay, guys. Any questions? Feel free to drop me any questions. And then we're going to slowly move towards the end of the evening. Let me see in the meantime if I missed any comments. Yeah, Anita, you definitely need to start reading, my dear. Lean, no question. All right, just a full view of the board for me. There you go. All right, guys. So next week I will not be here. My colleague will be here. That is Devante. I recommend that you see Devante as well. You get to meet Devante. He's from Alabama, from the United States. He is actually delivering workshops here, and he has a series of workshops called The Anatomy of the Human Mind. It is absolutely mind-blowing stuff. If you're in Dublin, it is 20 hours for the price of 50 euros. It is a complete life-changing experience. Reach out to us if you want more data. I'll be happy to share that with you. For now, I'll probably be seeing you back again in 3 weeks from now. I'm going to go to India for 2 weeks travel. You guys have been great. I loved having this chat with you. You guys, I loved the participation in the chat. It was fantastic. I hope everybody got something out of it. Yeah. We actually wanted to aim at what is the source of stress and anxiety. It's all in there. First part of the book will tell you exactly where that stress and anxiety is coming from, why it keeps happening to you, because it won't stop until you handle it. And the handling is in the book as well. Think it over. Maybe you want to get yourself a copy. Once again, it's great to have you guys. See, Robert, can you send me the link? Thanks, Erik. Okay, see you in a few weeks. All right. Okay, now it's it's rain. I can't keep track with you guys. Now it's just raining comments. Anyway, I'll check on that. Let's see. All right, Robert. Yeah, I can send you the link for the hard copy. Yeah. Absolutely. I can tell you, I got one in English and I got one in Dutch. Once you actually have read it, I read it 3 times. I could just read it another time. It's even kind of addictive. It's so good. It's loaded with data, and it's life-changing. So, okay, guys, I think I went through the chats. Thank you so much for the compliments. I'm really happy you guys got something out of it. You enjoyed it. Hope to see you next time to come next week and enjoy Devante's talk. I think it's all about relationships. For now, have a great rest of your evening and all the best. I hope to see you again next time. Bye.